Welcome back to 3D Speedy Designs. Today, while we were working on our car here today, we also wanted to introduce a new tool that we've been kind of working with just to help us out as we've tried to keep up on the maintenance of our brake systems. And again, we just wanted to make it available to everyone else if anyone else has interest in it. So if you've raced with the Legend cars, obviously you know that keeping up on these Wilwood calipers so they don't bind and drag as the pads wear, it takes a lot of work. Sometimes it can be a cumbersome process. So we had been fiddling with this, just tinkering on it, tuning on it and stuff over the last couple of months, and finally think we got it to a point where we feel that it could be useful to some other people as well. So what's in this kit? So this is just a kit to help push the pads out, or push your pistons out without actually having them go too far and coming out losing fluid, so that you can clean the pistons and then also safely get them back into place. So what's included in the kit is we developed this. This is just once you pull your brake pad out, this is just a simple pad to help stop the piston while you push the brake pedal. Easy one-man job. You can do it by yourself. So you'll get two of these. There's two that are thicker. And those are what we like to use to actually push the piston out, and then also a thinner one if you need to push it out a little farther. Obviously, if you have turned rotors or not, it kind of depends a little bit on which thickness you can use. So we wanted to include both. And then we also have two of these little plastic pry bars. These are designed to work with these. They got a couple different shapes to help just, once you get it started, and then you might need to go to the thicker one to help to push the piston in there. So I'll show you how we'll demonstrate those here on our 00 car as we're cleaning the brakes. So obviously go ahead and pull your brake pin clip out, and then you can wiggle your pads free, pull those out. Now, another good thing besides just cleaning the piston that's a good thing to do at this time is also to square your pads. If you know anything about the Wilwood caliper, if you look on the back of your pad and see the circle where your piston's pushing, and then if you also look at the shape of the pad, the piston pushes off center on these. So you almost always get less wear down here at the bottom of the pad than you do at the top. And with that taper wear, it also puts a little bit of a bind on the piston, which also can create some drag issues with your brakes. So keeping up on these brakes is a really big deal to keep drag out of the system and trying to, again, just free up as much speed as possible on these. So we'll talk about that too and in a minute. Let's see here. Sometimes you need a little screwdriver just to help pop these out here. Okay. All right. So now that we got our pads out, we'll go ahead, and what I like to do typically first here, and I'm just going to move some of this stuff out of the way, is just try to clean as much as I can of this area here with just some brake cleaner. So we're just going to simply hose down some of this area, try to get the heavy stuff out of here. Hopefully this isn't a foreign subject to you. You've been keeping up on your brakes, because it is rather important to the overall functionality of them and performance. But again, these tools are just designed to make the process just a little bit easier and quicker, and hopefully you can do it with one man versus having to have a couple people. If you're like us, where typically when we're working on the car, it's at night by ourselves, and just good help's hard to find sometimes at that hour of the night. So once you kind of get the rough stuff off, now we can kind of start getting the pistons pushed out. So like I said before, we're going to start with the thick ones, and we want the flat surface of the pad towards the piston. So we're just going to slide them in each there. Take the other thick one. And again, same thing. We want the flat surface towards the piston. And we're just going to slide them in. So now I'm going to go inside the car and just push the brake pedal. Okay, and there you go. They firmed back up, so the pistons came out. And then we're just going to slide these out. And now you can see that the piston is now exposed, and you can work on cleaning them. A toothbrush works pretty good. Don't use your wife or your girlfriend's. That'll be end not well. And then, if, like I say, there's also a thinner one. If you want to go push the pad out even a little bit further, you can slide in the thinner one. And I'm just going to put a thicker one in the other side. You never want to hit the brake pedal with nothing here in this space. It's caused a lot more work for sure. So and we're just going to push that one out just a little bit farther. Okay. All right, so now we got that out. We can go ahead and clean. And again, I just want to try to get that toothbrush in there and get as much of that gunk cleaned out of there as we can. Sometimes coming from the back side and stuff, you can... Okay. Obviously, you always want to watch your eyes for this. Okay, so now the other part of the functionality of the tool, right? So you remember how we said we had a couple different little pry bars here? So we're just going to start with the thinnest one and the thin shim that we just used. And we're just going to slide that in there, and then we're just going to start working that piston back a little bit. And again, this is just to help not use metal pry bars and stuff, and you don't want to gall up any of the components here. And then you can pull about. There's a little bit of a pivot point in there. It might be a little bit hard to see. The ball of this fits in the ball of the thing here. So you can slide that in there. And again, you can just, we're going to gently pry that piston back in. Now we can probably put the thicker one back in there. So we'll just do that quick. And since I want to clean this other piston, I'm going to put the thin one in there. Oh, see, I even did it backwards. We want to make sure we got the flat side towards the piston. And now I'm just going to push that piston out a little bit. Okay. And then we're just going to repeat that same process. We're just going to pull those out. We're going to get our brake cleaner on this one. And again, try to just clean as much as we can out of here. And some of these spots can certainly be hard to reach here, so I'm trying to get the right angle in there to get your brush in there. Follow it up with a quick rinse of brake cleaner. You also want to make sure you're washing off all those stainless shims there on the front and back there, or I guess top and bottom on this caliper. Okay. And then do the same process here. We're just going to slide our thin shim in with, you can kind of see I'm going to use the back side of this handle just because it fits in there nice and flat. And make sure we got a shim in this one too, just so it doesn't push the other piston out. And then we're just going to start working that piston back in. Change over to the other end. And again, no metal surfaces to gall up either your rotor or your piston. These are all very safe to use on all these components. And then now we're going to go to the thicker shim. They have the same little ball joint in them. We'll just slide that in. Now we can keep pushing it back in. There you go. There's one done. We'll leave that thick one in there. And at this point, if we had the brake pads ready to go, ideally, you know, we'd push one all the way back in. Use the ball joint here. Push it all the way in. You could slide your brake pad back in, and then now you could do this other side. Because a lot of times when you push one in, the other one wants to pop out. You see that pad's coming back out as we're pushing this one in. There. Now you can slide your other pad back in. But as mentioned, we're going to go ahead and square this one up. What I like to do to measure our brake pads, Simply take a caliper, and I'm going to measure all 4 corners of this brake pad. So we'll just do this one as an example. So 0.481, 0.483, so that's pretty good. 0.480, 0.4795. So this one ain't too bad. This is our left front. Obviously, this one has the less pressure to it, and these pads here were just only 1 race old. So if you have a bunch of races on these, though, I've seen as much as, 30 thousandths variation, or even more. Just taper wear on that pad. You definitely want to clean that up. Now, how do you do that? If you have some coarse sandpaper, lay it on the ground, and wherever your high spot is, try to put as much pressure there and sand the pad as flat as you can. If you're at the track and in a pinch, a coarse brushed concrete does really good. It takes a lot of material off there pretty quickly and get you cleaned up. And then we just kind of come back, make sure that you measure all 4 corners, kind of, or even just top and bottom. And once you get it to a good spot, you can hit it with just a light grit of like a coarse sandpaper, something like 120 grit or something. Just kind of take it off, bust down any high spots, and then you're ready to assemble it back in. So that's how we handle our brakes here. And again, like I say, we've been kind of working on this tool, just help us make it easy for a 1-person job, make it kind of idiot-proof as far as not pushing a piston out or trying to slowly push a pedal and just watch the pistons come out, because sometimes you can get it out too far and get yourself in a bind. So just a handy little tool, like I say, fairly inexpensive, but helpful around the shop. So if you like this, go ahead and subscribe to our channel. You can check us out at www.3dspeedydesigns.com. I'll put a link below. And thanks for all the support, everyone that's supported our business over the last year. So thank you. Bye.